He is the one that is directly responsible to the Lord for the messages that he preaches. And I used to tell people, and you say, I can say this and leave, and if y'all don't ever want me to come back, that's your problem. But I used to tell people they could vote to paint purple and black polka dots all over the walls. They could turn the building around backwards. They could do anything they wanted to do until they put their nose in this 6 square feet where I'm standing. Because the day I walked through that door as pastor, they gave me this spot. And I answered to no one but God for what took place in this spot. If they didn't like it, they could lump it. Say, well, you rubbed the fur on the cat the wrong way. Turn the silly cat around and it won't have a problem. You see, the messenger brings the message. He's not responsible for the results of that message, but he is held accountable to deliver that message. And the Lord gives some pretty stern words here for not heeding his message. Because the candlestick is the local church. And he said, if you mess with me, I'll remove your candlestick. Now that's about as plain as it gets, ain't it? You know, there is nothing any more miserable than to be in a place where God has written Ichabod over the front door and he has walked away and people haven't got sense enough to know that God has departed.
That's right.
So what is it that he's saying to us here tonight that we want to look at? He said, I know your works. You know, not too long before this was written, the book of Ephesians was written, and if you read the book of Ephesians, you'll find out that this church was on fire. It was reaching out. People were getting saved, and they were an example to me as I read the letter to the Ephesians of what I need to have in my own life. You know, they were working, they were there. And it talked about how they hated evil and everything like that. But since then, they've cooled off. You know. And what makes us cool off? Just a little bit of compromise.
Right.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
You know, say, oh, well, that don't matter. You know. I'm going to tell you something. People put some of the silliest things on children that I've ever seen. Have you ever seen a child walk around saying with a shirt on that said, the devil made me do it? I've got news for you. I'll soon be 67 years old, and in that length of time, the devil has never made me do one thing.
Amen.
He has put temptation in front of me. And there was a time in my life that the only thing that would keep me from embracing that temptation was I'd look at it and say, now, can that land me in jail? But if I did it, it was because I chose to do it. And it's the same thing today. Temptation comes to me. I can count on it being at my house every morning when my eyes open. It's going to be right there at the foot of the bed, just like that bulldog of mine. And I know that if that bulldog's alive, he's going to be at the foot of the bed. So is temptation. And I'm going to be tempted. I'm going to be pulled this way and that way. And people that know me, my wife was talking about something that happened not too awfully long ago to some friends of ours, and she said, you know, I was real proud of David. He didn't lose it. Wasn't a thing to do with David. You know, I told my wife one day I was going to buy her a shirt I saw in a catalog. It said, Lord, walk beside me today with your arm around my shoulders and your hand firmly over my mouth. You know, it weren't me that didn't lose it. I've come far enough down the road that I know that the Lord's going to take care of all that junk in His own time. And there's no need for me to get so bent out of shape that I have a stroke over it or something like that. Just let Him deal with it.
Amen. Amen.
But you see, these people had left their first love. And they're instructed to remember, to look back. And in my Sunday school class up at Three Forks, there's two of us in there that graduated from Fruitland. And, you know, we're people that graduate from up there are a little different. You know, sometimes we'll shout at the drop of a hat, and sometimes we'll bring the hat. But we were talking along these lines, and I told him, I said, you know, I graduated from Fruitland in October, started Wingate in January, and until April, I thought I was backslid because of walking around on the campus at Wingate. Because it was not the same atmosphere. At Fruitland, if you lived in the dormitory, it weren't a bit of trouble to be in a dozen prayer meetings in a day's time. And when you